This is a look at a game in early access, so everything said here is subject to change. Pay attention to the date this video was released. Hello everyone and welcome to Early Breakdown. I am Nordegraf. Early Breakdown is gonna be an early access look at games that are still in early access, if that wasn't obvious already. So today we are going to have a look at Welkin Road. Welkin Road is a... if you've ever played Mirror's Edge, it is very similar to that. It is a first-person runner game. If you've ever played In Momentum, it's very similar to that as well, except you have grapple mechanics tied to it. Let's start with the first thing you notice when you see the game, the graphics. The graphics are very minimalistic. Every level is just cubes in the sky with a few balls that you can grapple, and that's it. I'm not gonna diss it because it works exactly as intended for the game. It's just sets you up to run and do crazy stuff. Now for the story. There's no story whatsoever. It's just you go, run, done. Also, an important thing that I should mention is that the game has no music at all. At least when you're in the levels. The song you're hearing now is a song that plays on the menu, but when you get on the level, it has no music at all. It's just a game. Just watch for yourself. So you see, that's really a minor thing. You can play your own music while you're playing. A lot of people do that. I do that whenever I'm just casually playing a game and just turn on my own music. Kind of like making your own exercise mixtape. Now for the gameplay is hard to talk about because it's definitely something you have to experience yourself. If you have a chance to try the game out before, it's a great idea because it's what will set if this game is good for you or not. Here's how it works. Basically, you run. The momentum is a very big thing in this game. You have to run and do jumps, and you have to grapple the walls, and there's a bunch of different mechanics. Let's start by the running. The running feels great. The jumping feels great. You have to crowd jump, kind of like in Mirror's Edge. You have to crowd jump in order to get to longer jumps and to crawl under spaces. And then when you have to grapple onto those little spheres that the momentum kind of follows your camera. It's something that you definitely have to play to understand. Sometimes, for the first few levels, this feels good. Feels solid. But later on, when they start introducing like different mechanics to it, it can feel a little awkward and hard to perform. Especially when wall jump is concerned, because wall jump, sometimes I would start wall running and my character would just drop. Or instead of wall running, I'll just kick the wall and jump to the side. That was a little bit frustrating for me. It feels like there could be some polish with the movement and lateral movement. Level design wise also, because sometimes I would do what I felt like was a perfect swing. Let's say there's a sequence of spheres. I would do what I felt was like a perfect turn. And then I would, on the end of momentum, I would throw myself and just hit the other ball because I did too much. It feels like they could maybe space out the balls a little. Sometimes it feels like the jumps are too pixel perfect, so you'll be trying a jump over and over, and what it feels like it's a perfect jump, you're not gonna make it. There's also a travel time on your grapple, so even though your little cursor will show, oh, you can grapple now, it doesn't matter because the travel time of the grapple will outlast the little cursor being there, and so you drop anyway. It can be a little frustrating, I'm not going to lie. If you take the time to learn the game, it can be a great game, and I feel like with a little polish to the movement and the level design, it can be perfect. As it stands now, it can be a little hard to perform certain stunts. Here's the mechanics that are involved in the game. You have the running and jumping, works fine. Wall running works sometimes not really. You have the spheres, the red sphere, which is always there, the green sphere, which changes something in the environment, be it changing a platform around or just moving with you so your momentum is increased. There's also the blue sphere, which it's a temporary sphere, it just disappears with time. There's also purple spheres, which catapult you. It can be a little awkward to perform the purple spheres when you're in the air, but when you get it, it works fine. Also a slide, I would call it a ramp with ice physics. It's this purple part of the floor that just speeds you up, and it's used mostly for ramps. There's also moving blocks, which keep your momentum when you jump off of it. It's actually quite interesting how you have to jump way earlier because your momentum is gonna be slightly increased when you jump. There's also these black spheres that push you away, and they're kind of used in a way like to elevate you up when you're trying to do a jump. The mechanic that I have the most problems with is the wall grappling. There's this big screens on walls that you have to grapple up, and you have to keep pushing yourself up through it. It's way too slow. It's not pleasurable to do. And it's just awful. Although, points to the devs. The devs are very active in the forums, and I've read that they are looking of a way to alter that in some way, or to remove it altogether and put something else into place, which is good because it feels way too awkward to do. It slows down the gameplay too much, and it's not good. But there's also ones in the ceiling which for the most part work fine. Can be a little awkward to perform. It's mostly, I would say, a lack of practice thing, but you kind of feel like Tarzan just going through it. It's a lot of fun. Let's talk about what's in the game. There are 11 levels so far. They do have plans to add maybe a level editor, so players can introduce their own levels, which would be great. It would greatly improve the longevity. I feel like could be shorter. Some levels can go for like 20 minutes at a time, and even if you're performing fine, and it can get a little grating. I feel like if they broke down the levels into smaller chunks and make each one its own level, it would be a lot more fun. Maybe a 5-minute level instead of a 20-minute one. It would be way more fun to do. And that's it for the execution, really. It's executed well, but once you get into the harder stuff, it can get very frustrating. Once I got to the wall climbing, I just lost. I was basically at the end of the 5th level, and I just quit because I just could not finish it. It was just too annoying trying to, because you basically had to, you were wall climbing and then you had to wall jump from a wall climb into another wall climb. It's just way too awkward to perform. Way too awkward. I was trying that for like 30 minutes and was like, no, I'm done. I'm not getting anywhere. I'm losing progress because I'm falling from this platform every time. Also, it's important to note that checkpoints are plentiful, but sometimes checkpoints can put you in awkward situations, like in the middle of a swing, which I can understand why they did that if they have long swing sections, but it can be very awkward to just be thrown back into the middle of a swing. Let's talk about why this game is in early access. I think this is important. It's one of the most completed early access games I found, except for, the fact that there's not much there. I feel like the speedrun and the aspect of constantly improving your time, I feel like speedrunning really does increase replayability a lot. They are planning to do Race Against Friends. They are planning on viewing, sharing replays, racing against ghosts, and a level editor and Steam Workshop support. So they're right now taking community interactions to community feedback in order to polish the game and make it more accessible, I guess. Because it is now, some of the high level plays can be a little too hard to perform. I feel like this is one of the most completed games I've played in early access. I played a couple of games in early access, and this is and I've seen a bunch of different games in early access, and a lot of it is trash. This one is one of the most completed ones. For the price point of $13, I think it's fine. It's gonna increase in price when it's released. They did give an ETA of like 4 months, and it's almost been 4 months since they released it in early access. So I don't know how long is it still gonna be early access. It should be ending either this month or next month if their ETA is correct. However, a lot of the things that they said they're trying to put in are not there yet, so I can't really guarantee it. So, as always with any early access product, do be careful going into it. I feel like if this is your type of game, it's a great buy. If it's not, but you're still interested, keep an eye on it, because if they polish the running and the grappling, and they introduce the ghost aspect, it's gonna make it a lot easier for people to learn levels and to, you know, get better at the game. And this is pretty much my opinion on the game. Cut down the levels to 5 minutes each would make it a lot more enjoyable. It would not be such a hectic experience of having to do 20 minutes when one sitting of a level. I know you're doing faster and faster, but still, it's a very grating experience to have to go through an entire level, reach a point that you can't beat, that you have to keep practicing over and over, only to then have to do another one of those points later. This has been the early breakdown of Welkin Road. If what you see interested you, if any of the points you agree with, you think this game is for you, I do recommend it. It's a lot of fun. I found it very frustrating at parts. I will definitely keep an eye on it, and I will definitely come back to it when it's fully released to see what they added and all the changes. So keep an eye on the channel. I'll see you guys on the next, whatever it is I'll do on the flip side. Bye bye.